There are certain YouTubers who gag at the thought that homosexuality was both prevalent and accepted in ancient Greece, even though respected academics over the last 50 years have confirmed that homosexual relationships did happen in ancient Greece with plenty of evidence. These keyboard warriors seem to think that they know better. The classic work in the late 1970s on Greek homosexuality was by Kenneth Dover, and he looked at ancient Greek vases and the demeanour and the gestures between men, which could hardly be construed as platonic. And in ancient Greek plays and drama, there were clear references to homosexual behaviour. In more recent times, the British classicist James Davidson accuses some modern commentators of projecting their own homophobia onto the past, where they always see homosexual relationships as abusive or as examples of power play. They never believe that same-sex relations in the past, let alone existing, could have been based on love or affection. Attitudes undoubtedly would have changed at different moments in ancient Greek history. So at the time of Homer, it's reasonable to believe that there was a more disapproving attitude towards homosexuality, though that is not 100%. But in the archaic period, there is plenty of evidence of same-sex relationships. So why did these relationships happen? Well, some of it may have to do with the situation you find in some Middle Eastern countries today, with women secluded at home, with all-male milieus, men never really mixing with women socially. Marriage, in many instances, had nothing to do with love and more to do with protecting property rights or protecting the dynasty. Men also spent a great deal of time in military training and in sports activity, very often naked, and so if you were inclined towards same-sex relationships with other men, then there was ample opportunity to get on down. And remember as well that not only did you have this physical activity, but afterwards you might go to a very boozy symposia with other men. Plato remarks on Socrates, his great tutor, getting into bed with a handsome young man called Alcibiades, and his surprise was that Socrates didn't actually have sex with this man, not that the two of them got into bed. But this can't be the only explanation. The reason that men have homosexual relationships isn't because they're denied the company of women. The point is that there have always been homosexual men who enjoyed the company of other men, relationships with other men. Of course, there were same-sex relationships back then that we would never condone today. So, for example, the Athenian practice of pederasty, where an older man would mentor a younger boy. Now, this in our society is quite rightly frowned upon, but it was also frowned upon by other ancient Greeks, which is why this Athenian practice was commented about. It should also be pointed out that men tended to marry around the age of 30 and frequently with much younger girls, so that paedophile activity wasn't just restricted to same-sex, but also between men and women, as still happens in the world today. The assumption of many homophobic shock jocks on social media is that homosexuality weakens a society and that their heroes couldn't possibly be homosexual because that would make them lesser people. The reality, however, is that this network of lovers and ex-lovers in ancient Greece bound the community closer together. It is true that ancient Greeks didn't see themselves as gay or lesbian or LGBT, though it's worth remembering the term LGBT didn't really exist in the 1970s and 1980s. However, that doesn't mean that there weren't LGBT people. Ditto ancient Greece. Just because you didn't call yourself gay or LGBT didn't mean that same-sex attraction didn't exist. That's just being ridiculous. The difficulty that some people have with homosexuality in the ancient world today is more rooted in Victorian attitudes, 20th century attitudes, and even the Judeo-Christian influence on our civilization. The fact is, though, that in ancient Greece, ancient Rome, ancient Egypt, there were heterosexuals and there were homosexuals. Now, the nature of what they did, the form of what they did, may have differed from today. What they call themselves or didn't call themselves may also differ. But as we see with ancient Greece, same-sex activity was recognized, was written about, was depicted. So my message to those on YouTube and social media who can't get their heads around that is, well, you just need to get over it.